So apparently the biggest feature of the Xiaomi Mi 8 are animojis. Anyway, the Xiaomi Mi 8 is going to be launched in just a few hours, and here are my thoughts. Before we dive in, here are the specifications. Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, Android 8.1 Oreo, 20 megapixel, 16 megapixel back camera, 16 megapixel front camera, 3300 milliamp hour battery, NFC wireless charging, dual GPS, 7.8 millimeters thick, 172 grams, as well as a 6.2 inch notch display. And the price here is actually going to come in fairly low, which is fairly surprising. So I'm not quite sure if it's going to raise a little bit. 27.99 RMB, which translates to around 436 US dollars. An insanely low price. I mean, if this is the real price, then there's really no point to get the OnePlus 6 anymore. So let's jump right into the build quality of the Xiaomi Mi 8. And of course, it's going to be a glass phone. It's not my favorite material, but whatever, I can live with it, especially since I'm getting wireless charging in exchange. In terms of the size of the phone, it's going to be not too big. It's going to be 7.8 millimeters thick, as well as 172 grams heavy, which is actually not that heavy. My Smart Note Pro 2 was actually around 160, 156 grams, so that's actually not too much more for a 6.2 inch display. However, there is no headphone jack, so you do get the adapter included, but that's pretty standard nowadays. And there's also a notch on the front of the display. I know some of you guys don't like notches, and I want you guys to try thinking about it in a way that you're getting more screen on both sides of the notch instead of you're losing screen from the middle of the notch. Last thing here, I sincerely hope there is Ip68 waterproofing, because that is one thing Xiaomi has not included in any of their phones, which is very, very disappointing. I mean, the Xiaomi Mi 6 came pretty close, but then the USB port was not waterproofed. Moving on to the display, the spec sheet says that it is an IPS display, but if it has an in-display fingerprint sensor, it has to be OLED. And to be honest, even if there was no in-finger fingerprint sensor, I would have preferred it to be OLED anyway, because I do like the color saturation of an OLED as well as the deep blacks in the OLED also. I really like it a lot more than an IPS LCD. The IPS LCD can look a little bit washed out beside a really good OLED screen, and you know, that is my personal preference. I know some people prefer LCDs because they are more accurate, but then again, we'll have to see what they come out with. Audio is going to be as usual, nothing special. It's going to be loud. It's definitely not going to match up to my Smart Note Pro 2. I know that, because the Smart Note Pro 2's audio is absolutely amazing. Battery life. It really annoys me that Xiaomi keeps on putting 3300 milliamp hour batteries inside their flagships, because no matter how much you optimize the Snapdragon 845, that's still a high power processor. And you combine that with a 3300 milliamp hour battery, that's just not going to be enough for your use. I mean, there are going to be a lot of people who can make it through a whole day with just a 3300 milliamp hour battery, but that cuts out a sizable portion of the market of people who don't want to charge their phone at all, but want to get maybe 8, 9, 10 hours of screen on time on their phone without having to worry about charging. Sure, yes, you do have wireless charging, and you do have Quick Charge 4.0 for you to charge up your phone really, really fast, but those are band-aids, right? The true solution is just put a bigger battery in the phone and be done with it. It's just, put a 4000 milliamp hour battery in there and call it a day. It's not going to be that hard, but then again, they do want your battery to die faster, so they can sell you a new phone later, which, they're a company, I can't blame them, because they're trying to make money. So software, it's going to come with Android 8.1, and it's going to come with MIUI 9, and it's going to update to MIUI 10 later. And in terms of usage and features and everything like that, MIUI has traditionally been very good with optimization. It's usually been very fast, and you also get a lot of features, so that's no problem at all. And of course, the base model has 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. So of course, you're going to have no lack of RAM. You're going to be able to launch apps super fast because it is a Snapdragon 845. And you're going to be able to play all the games on your new phone, the Xiaomi Mi 8. And of course, there's that in-display fingerprint sensor as well as face unlock. And finally, there's that software that everybody seems to be putting in their phones now, which is animojis. And Xiaomi's been pushing this quite a bit in their cell phones, and I honestly could not care less about animojis, but you know what, maybe the Chinese market will like it because that is their main market for the Xiaomi Mi 8. Moving on to network connectivity, I really hope they put a lot of network bands in their cell phone, because the Xiaomi Mi 6, the Xiaomi Mi 5 all didn't have enough network bands. The Mi 6 especially had just 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8, which is okay. But for a flagship phone, you really should put more network bands in your cell phone, because that would suck, because then a lot of people can't buy it because it is not compatible. and it's really not that compatible in the US and Canada with those network bands. So I hope they put more, and we'll see what happens. Here, there's also a thing called dual GPS, and I'm not quite sure what that means. But moving on, we also have NFC, which is very nice. The rear camera here is going to be a dual sensor system with a 60 megapixel, 20 megapixel rear camera, and it's going to use the IMX363 sensor. And of course, you're going to be able to get very, very good very good camera quality. I have no doubt about it. But I wonder if this is the year where the Xiaomi Mi 8 can match up to the flagship giants like the Galaxy S9 and the iPhone X in terms of daylight photos. I know they were very close, but I wonder if they can be on par, maybe even with the Pixel 2. I really hope they can match up to the big guys in terms of daylight camera quality, and where the more important thing here is low light camera quality. Xiaomi has traditionally been not that good at that compared to the big guys, right? They've been pretty good for a Chinese company, but you compare them to a Samsung, an iPhone, or Google, their low light photography skills are just not that great. So I really hope that Xiaomi can improve their low light photography skills in the Xiaomi Mi 8. And I wonder if this is the year that they'll finally make it, because it is 8, which is super lucky in Chinese. And of course, here we have the 60 megapixel front camera for all those selfie-loving Chinese people. And finally, of course, 4K video recording, because what flagship does not have that? 2,800 RMB or $439 US is an insane price to pay for this phone, and I really don't think that it's going to release at that price, because that is such a low price that if that was the launch price, then there really is no reason to get the OnePlus 6 anymore. You're paying like an extra, what, $100 or $120 to get the OnePlus 6 over this. Really no point getting the OnePlus 6. So yeah, let me know what you think. So yeah, let me know if there is anything in this Xiaomi Mi 8 that's stopping you from getting it. And did I get these specs right? Did I get it wrong compared to the Xiaomi Mi 8 launch event? Let me know everything in the comments down below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and be sure to hit that little notification button beside the subscribe button to make sure you're notified of any of the latest uploads that come up on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.